This is quite a big day because we have a Christian hanging out in the Hindu office.
Okay, hang on.
With Sangeeta Carnatic.
Oh God. சும்மா ஸ்டாண்ட் அப்னு சொல்லி கச்சேரி தான் பண்றாரு. எப்படி இருக்குன்னா மூணு தடவை ஜெகதாந்தகா சொல்லிட்டு ஐயோ சொல்லிட்ட பாட போறானா இவன் இப்போ.
இல்ல ப்ரொடியூசர் கொஞ்சம் கமர்ஷியலா எக்ஸ்பெக்ட் பண்றாரு.
ஆமா. ஒரு ரெண்டு சாங் போடலாமா? ஓய்யா ஓய் அது என்ன ஓய்.
This is quite a big day because we have a Christian hanging out in the Hindu office.
Okay, hang on.
With Sangeeta Carnatic.
Oh God. That's a cop out, man.
And we are going to be talking about Sebastian and Sons. See where the world has come to. So that's where we are here. That's what is happening. That's why it's a big day. And of course, I'm very excited about interacting with Krishna. We have never spent time real. Of course, hi bye லாம் சொல்லிருக்கோம், messages லாம் அனுப்பிச்சிருக்கோம். I mean, of course, it's okay to have little Tamil, right? So, not that you have a choice. I roll into Tamil before I know it. So, this is the first time I get to interact with Krishna. Of course, I have a bunch of notes and stuff. But of course, it's going to be an impromptu kind of discussion, and feel free to jump in.
Absolutely.
That is okay. Krishna is okay with it. And before I go to Krishna, it's quite an honor to be in the Hindu office. It's a goosebump kind of a moment because you ask ChatGPT, we were talking about ChatGPT a lot. You go to ChatGPT and ask, tell me about the Hindu newspaper. It tells you the most respected newspaper in the country, and it's been around for 150 years. நம்மளே பாம் வச்சு நம்மளே எடுக்கிற மாதிரி.
ஒரே நிமிஷம், இப்பதான் ChatGPT நம்ப கூடாது நம்ம பேசிட்டு இருந்தோம்.
But it's quite I have to tell a quick anecdote, then we'll come to Krishna. So I studied in a Tamil medium school. Schooling எல்லாம் Tamil medium. So I'm touching 50 now. So 30 years ago I joined college. You can imagine Indian Engineering College in Anna University, and you can imagine engineering you study in English. There were some multiple initiatives to make it all Tamil, still not there yet. And you can imagine, it's very intimidating experience. So everything is in English and you get lost, and suddenly the city boys are conversing in English. And one of the sincere advices I got from my seniors as well as my own brother, which I have passed on to many, many people, which I think works, is my senior said, Machan, read Hindu paper every day. Don't just read, study the Hindu paper. Take the Hindu paper. Don't feel shy. Keep your dictionary, the Lifco English to Tamil dictionary. Just don't feel shy. Keep it next to it and finish the Hindu paper. Study it every day. ஒரு சிம்பிள் மேட்டரை கூட சொபிஸ்டிகேட்டடாக சொல்லிட்டு எழுதுவாங்க பாரு. Just and he said that I still remember. மச்சான், ஹிந்து பேப்பர் படிக்கிறதுக்கே நீ நல்லா படிச்சிருக்கணும் மச்சான். And it's been quite a dream. When I quit my job 10 years ago, in the comic circles, very often people would say, Macha, we are now artists. We are not engineers anymore. We are artists. And we should get reviewed by Hindu. Appa, that's when you feel arrived. Hinduல எப்படியாவது ரிவ்யூ வாங்கிடணும். அவங்க திட்டினா கூட பரவாயில்ல. பிகாஸ் அவங்க திட்டுறாங்கன்னு பெருசா ரொம்ப பேருக்கு தெரியாது. ஹிந்துல வந்துட்டா மச்சான், that's what people know. And ஹிந்துக்கே வந்தாச்சு இன்னைக்கு. So it's quite a moment. Thank you so much for this opportunity. Thank you, Chitra, for thinking of me for this. And Krishna, it's quite an honor to converse with Krishna here today. And of course, Krishna wouldn't be surprised when I say this. Within my friend circle, acquaintances லாம் கூட போல, within my close friend circle, there are friends who admire Krishna and who, if I put it mildly, kannapinna critical of Krishna. And I have both the sides within my close circles. And I've been following Krishna. I've started learning Carnatic classical music about 25 years ago. Not that I'm like such a pro, I'm on and off. So I've been watching, I've been gone to Krishna's concerts and all that musically. So in this conversation, of course, this left and right side of this friendship circle has been happening for 10 years, of course, after Krishna has been very active in the activism side and talking about society and everything. And I've seen, and we have been having a lot of conversations. In a way, it's a success for Krishna, in my opinion. So we talk about it. We are still friends. And there have been some movement here and there, at least in some issues. With the but and if, however, with all that, there have been some moves. And I think that's a success. I think the conversation, every time a conversation happens, it's quite a success.
That's true.
And so I'm very happy to say I'm a big admirer of whatever you've been doing in this 10 years, Krishna. And I think I absolutely identify with the purpose, the equality as a core purpose there. Yeah. So I used to work for Amazon, and Jeff Bezos used to do this annual leadership meeting. All the leaders or the managers get to go in that meeting. It's of course quite a few managers, right? And one of the guys asked this question, Jeff, what are you worried about? What are you scared about? That was the question. He said, I worry that we'll over time. So this is about 8 years ago, and already Amazon was quite big, quite big. And he said, I'm worried that at some point, now that we are so big, we'll become very complacent. We'll stop asking questions. We'll stop hating being uncomfortable. As leaders, it's our job to be ready to be uncomfortable. He was saying that. And of course, he was talking about the human history briefly. Every time there was, he said, some social cohesion was some word he was using. We humans tend to be very comfortable with social cohesion. And then somebody comes and rocks the boat. They call it rock. It's a common usage. Somebody comes and rocks the boat. It's very uncomfortable. But he's saying that's what we should be always be ready for. When we start being or start hating discomfort, we'll stop growing. I think what Krishna is, quoting many people saying about Krishna is also, he keeps rocking the boat. The moment he sees the boat, he has to go rock it. In the boat, he has summa irukku. And he starts rocking the boat. I think that's for the conversation. And I think that's for the growth. And thanks, Krishna. It's besides all the criticism that you hear, doing what you're doing, it's not an easy thing. And like you said in your speech, sometimes you said it gets lonely. And people say that you're doing it as if you are enjoying it. You're doing it for, standing out or what is that, fame and all that. But it can get very lonely, and we are all humans and we all like social cohesion. We all like our gang. So Krishna has been doing this. I'm here to tell you, big fan, big admirer.
That's very
Keep
sweet.
up the great work. You've been inspiring.
Thank you.
I have some questions. I don't know where to stop. Let me tell you. You definitely made me the self-inquiry, the Suya Parisodhana, the phrase you keep using. I think you have made me do that. That's why I became a big fan of you, of your political work also. Because I'm touching 50 now, there have been enough people in my life at many stages to come and tell me, you have to be very careful about those people, people up there. They have a way to get you. You think they are friends. No. No. That's how they smile. Then they come around. At some point, all that stories, there are enough stories I've heard. But there's never, I come from this, let's say, now that Krishna is here, everything's out in the open, right? We can say, I don't come from this bottom of most oppressed communities. So somewhere in the middle, let's say, the middle layer is huge, and even in software, everything is called the middle, right? So somewhere in the middle, there have never been many people coming and tell me how we have been doing many things that nobody tells us very often, not even in the films until recent times. Along with, I think the past 10 years have been path changing in that way also. So many creators talking about this. And I've never been told, I never questioned some of the things I was doing, some of the things we have been doing back home. Adula tappave theriyala. And definitely Krishna's self-inquiry and his writings and the way his commentary has been very, very helpful to make me, if I have to say, a better person. At least I've been trying. I don't. It's a work in progress. So thanks for rocking the boats all over.
Thank you so much. It's very, very kind of you. No. First of all, I must first thank the Hindu for getting us on one stage together, because I think we've been sending messages to each other once in a while, seeing each other at some event. But every time we want to meet, something or the other will happen and I won't show up. So it's completely on me. So needless to say, what I truly, we'll finish all this mutual admiration, then start, okay? So needless to say, I think what is important about what Alex does in his own way, he has found a tonality, if I can use that word, where he is, other than the fact that he sings and he speaks, all that kept aside, he's found a tonality in a field which I believe, and this is my commentary as always, which I believe that especially in the Indian English, quasi-English kind of stand-up work that they do, is either cop-out, where there's no tonality of making commentary, and you're able to find a tonality where you make the commentary, but yet people may not even know you're making the commentary, but they somehow get an experience of what you're trying to say. I think to hit that kind of a balance is very difficult. The easier thing that I see people doing is moving to the space of very safeness, talking about little things that everybody is happy about, that the common
Costume,
events in our life.
hair and
Exactly. So I think that's quite phenomenal that you're able to find that space for yourself, and I think honestly, I think it's rare that in the Indian context, especially for stand-up comedians to find that space, make comments, and allow people to be uncomfortable, sometimes not even realizing they are uncomfortable.
Actually, I'll shuffle up my cards. Okay, that leads to that leads to one of the questions there. This whole like they say, work on your craft so much that whatever you're trying to say becomes very palatable, or they don't even know that they're consuming. In a way, isn't that sugarcoating? Sometimes I feel guilty. Why? I mean, they're not kids, right? Just go tell what you want to tell, as opposed to இவ்வளவு ஆக்ட் எல்லாம் போட்டு தம்பி என்ன சொல்ல வர்ற நீ தானே அப்படின்னு ஒன் தே இட்ஸ் சம்டைம்ஸ் யூ டோன்ட் நோ வெதர் யூ சக்ஸஸ்ஃபுல்லி யூனோ அந்த டொனாலிட்டி கண்டுபிடிச்சிட்டோமா இல்லை வி ஆர் ஜஸ்ட் ட்ரைங் டு தே ஆர் கோயிங் டு சே எல்லாம் புரியுது தம்பி அப்படியே சொல்லிடு. So it's a very difficult.
No, but I think that it's also a personality thing, right? Because every person is very different. So for me, for example, many people have told me from so many years saying, you know, what you're saying is right, but can you say it nicely?
Okay.
I'm like, how can you say that nicely? I mean, I would love to use a different way of saying, how can we say that we dashed up nicely? It's not possible. I mean, because if I say that, then I'm not saying it. So the only way to say it is, there is a problem here. And that's in a part my personality too. I think it is a personality. At the same time, I think there's a difference between sugarcoating, where I think you don't want to say it actually, but you want to come out to be as a person who is, in today's parlance, shall we say, engaged and progressive. So you're trying to, there's also a market issue here. You have your market. You don't want to disturb your market.
True.
You want to make sure your market remains with you somehow. Therefore, you know, இது சொன்னா அவ்வளவுதான் அடுத்த கட்சி ஆளே வர போறதில்ல, அந்த பயம் வேற ஒன்று இருக்குல்ல. So then you say, okay, இது சொல்லலாம் ஆனா சொல்லாம சொல்லலாம். So that's a kind of a, I think that is a kind of a fraudulent way of doing it. This is my opinion. But I think there's a difference between this and finding your own mode of saying something. I think there are those, I don't think you can confuse the two. And I think there is also space for that. There's also space for finding your own language for it. I think there is space, because then everybody cannot speak the way I speak, or everybody should not be speaking the way you speak. So, and also in, shall we say, public action meaning word or action, there has to be different ways of pushing and pulling. Even I don't say everything on the face verbally. Sometimes it's in a song I sing. I don't say a word.
Right.
I'm just singing a song. But that's a different kind of an action that can trigger so many things in its own way. So there is strategy here. It's not done with naivety. There is strategy here. You know, certain things nera sonna da nadakum. Certain things you drop an issue and just let it play. You don't control. I think you have to have all these tools in your hand.
Right.
To be able to engage in a dynamic manner. Also remember that you are also participating. So you're also hopefully learning from this.
Right.
I mean, it's not like you realized everything, figured out the whole world and saying, "Paranga, உங்களுக்கு ஒண்ணும் தெரியல." No, we are saying we don't know.
Right.
அது அந்த awareness இருக்கும்போது, then I think the sugarcoating problem doesn't come. When you're not aware that you are as much part of the problem,
Right.
then you become a kind of a messiah, messenger, which is a fraud anyway.
Right. Right. As long as you are open to be questioned.
You have to be
You
questioned.
have to be.
You have to be vulnerable, perpetually vulnerable.
Yeah. As long as you're ready to change.
Yeah.
Being ready to change. And one of the things I'm sure you hear a lot more than I hear. Like, you don't know the full thing.
Yeah.
The moment you say or premise, you don't know the full thing. And sometimes I tend to think by the time you know the full thing, I'll be gone.
Autumn close.
And I won't even say anything, man. So I'm like, I've told what I know. You tell me
Exactly.
what I missed.
No, it's very important.